morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is morning time for me. It's a Saturday. I'm about to go to Cars and Coffee for the first time with my K24 EF Sedan. It is pretty fucking cold out right now, and I haven't been to Cars and Coffee in a minute. It's about 45 minutes away from my house. Got to go get some gas, and then I'm going to head out. This is probably only the third or fourth time I've ever taken the car on a distance more than just around my town, so I always kind of put a little blessing on it, make sure nothing goes wrong. But I think we should be fine. I just beat on it not too long ago and it did pretty well. So yeah, I also thought it would be the perfect opportunity to kind of get into the car and explain a little bit about it and what's in it and what's done to it. I'm not sure if I want to be that guy at Cars and Coffee taking a video of his own car, but I might pull in a parking lot afterwards, give you all a little one-on-one action, you know what I mean? So but for the time being, I'm out. Alright guys, well, we are on the Blue Ridge Parkway at the Wesner Bald View location. I tried to pull off at a couple different locations, but there was just a lot of people around, didn't really feel comfortable filming. There's only one person besides myself here right now, and the only problem with this spot is there's a lot of road noise from cars. There's not really, it's just here in the road. So, but I'm gonna get into almost everything on my 1990 Honda Civic K24 EF Sedan. So here we go. What's up, guys? This is my 1990 Honda Civic, also known as an EF Sedan. I picked this car up in May of 2021, and it was my daily driver for about a year and a half in completely stock form. Again, my apologies for the road noise. I'm just gonna briefly go over all the outside modifications, and then we will go more in depth about what is under the hood, suspension, all that kind of stuff. And also, please excuse my monster truck fitment right now. Just kind of, trying to work things out, seeing where things sit. I have these weird offset wheels that kind of poke a little bit, so kind of trying to figure out what camber to run, all that kind of stuff. But anyways, let's get into the outside modifications. So we'll start in the rear. This is a DX car, so these cars from the factory come with black front and rear bumpers. This is the factory rear bumper. The front one I actually found from a buddy who had a pewter gray 9091 EF Sedan bumper. So I snagged that up, and I wish there was a rear bumper to go with that, but unfortunately that was all that he had. So I put that on. The rear bumper is the same for the time being. This car will be fully painted potentially in the future, and in that case I will also paint the rear bumper. Meet my one rust spot on the car. The biggest modification, lightweight, you know what I mean? But that will be taken care of. There's no other rust on the car, nothing on the rocker panels, underside, in the trunk, nothing along those lines. So another modification was this rear center garnish that is from a 9091 sedan, but I believe it's from Taiwan. It has the gold lettering instead of, it doesn't really look gold in this lighting, but I can promise you it is. It's also raised lettering, so I thought that was pretty cool. Ended up grabbing that. I think I paid like $175 or something like that, which was kind of expensive at the time, but it's what I wanted, so I got it. The taillights are original. They're in great shape. Moving around, so the wheels that are currently on the car are Kozai K1s. They are like a P1 replica. These are actually Miata spec. They have a +30 offset, so I had to have the centers bored out to fit my hubs, because Miata hubs are slightly smaller. I believe they're around 58 millimeters and these are around 63. Do not quote me on that. The tires are Vulcan Enos RT660s 205/50 R15 wrapped all the way around. They are pretty new to me. I'm just kind of trying them out for the first time. This car originally came with a passenger side mirror delete plate. I ended up finding an OEM DX sedan manual mirror. So you can see the Honda stamping right there. Those are, I talk about them if you follow me on Instagram. I love them, but they're just kind of hard to find because that was actually a factory option that did not come with the car, so you had to order that or add that after the fact, and not a lot of people chose to do that, so there's not that many left in existence. Front end, we have a 9091 Civic Si front lip. We have eBay bumper lights clear, but they do have a touch of amber on the inside. eBay corner lights, which are also the same as 9091 EDM clear corners. Sorry for my finger. The headlights are actually aftermarket. They are depot. They are EDM single bulb headlights, which I think are the best headlights to put on USDM EFs. They're amazing, they're awesome, and I love them. But that was a recent modification. The hood. So this hood is kind of special. It is a slime ball built EF Sedan JDM SIR styled USDM fitting hood. That's a lot to say. It's a mouthful, I know. But the difference, besides it being carbon, is that this actually bumps up. So instead of a USDM EF hood with the, bump down, it's not a bump at that point. I'm trying to figure out what to say. The indentation, this is elevated. And on the inside of the hood, there is no webbing or anything like that, so you get a lot of clearance, and that's how I was able to fit the motor that I currently have in this car. I am running those fake Password JDM half-inch hood risers. Not 100% sure if those were needed for my application, but they were on the car when we made cuts in the hood for these aero latches. So I'm afraid that if I remove them to try to see if I can get it completely flush, that would offset where I have chosen to put my quick latches. So also, if there's any sedan guys watching, you can tell that I do not have the little, grill piece that sits right here. This car was vibrating a lot and that was rattling, so I decided to take it off. I don't think it looks half bad without it in there, but I'm looking to add maybe like a rubber styled weather stripping in the future to kind of give it that faux garnish look. So that's coming up, I guess. But other than that, it remains pretty stock looking. This is technically a non-accident car, even though, if you guys can tell, the driver's side has been repainted at some point. I don't know if it was a side swipe or just, I don't know what, but this fender, that door, and that door had been repainted at some point. There's a little bit more metallic in it than the rest. I'll try to, yeah, there's no way I'm going to be able to show you that. But anyways, this is original paint that is repainted. So as far as the outside, that's pretty much it. There's no other modifications. I do have my little eBay radio delete that is sedan specific, which took me a while to figure out. I got the hatch one at first, and that's kind of like a teardrop style. But yeah, all right, we will get into, I don't know, let's preserve the under the hood for last. I'll go to the inside. On the interior of the car, it is primarily stock, and I kept it that way because I do like the stock interiors in these EFs. Little fun mod right here is these are EDM, well, supposedly EDM EF manual door levers. They are chrome, and I have little chrome accents. Sedans have a lot of chrome stuff. I'm not really a huge fan, but on the inside they have these little chrome, pull handles, so I thought that would match nicely, and I think they look great. They're on all 4 doors. So back here I added the rear speaker pods. They did not come with the car. There were just speakers sitting in there, but it looked to me like it might have came with these originally, but when I bought the car they were not in there, so I added those. I cleaned them up a little bit. I think they look nice. Rear seats are stock. I have Etsy floor mats. There's nothing really special about the inside, but I really like the gray. Black or gray, that's the only 2 interior colors I really like. I do like the palmy blue, I will say. My girlfriend's 91 hatch has the palmy blue interior, and I'm a big fan. So maybe we'll put that in there, not just black and gray. But let me put this down real quick. All right, moving to the front. So these are Acura Integra GSR front seats. These originally came with the automatic seat belts, so I got them modified to fit 9091 sedan rails, even though this is kind of some jank shit that I got going on right here. I don't know if you can tell, but that's normally where the bolt would sit. We just cut a slit in the rail. I put a washer, but they're in there firm, and all 4 bolts. So this is completely planted to the chassis. All right, so steering wheel is a Momo Monte Carlo. This is all black. It's a 350 millimeter, I believe. Or maybe it's 320. I don't know. It's a smaller one. I like it. It's the best looking wheel ever for these Civics, in my opinion. And on top of that, it feels great. What else do we have? So I originally had an ECU Masters ECU in this car, the black ECU. That ended up not working out so great for me, but I also bought the display at that time, and we converted the car back to a K-Pro, but I kept the display, and it's a pretty cool display. I haven't really figured out all the settings in it yet, so I kind of got to play around with that. I have a Hone development. I used to have all 3 pedals. As you can see, there were holes drilled in, but now I just have the gas pedal because I was having some foot interference while shifting. I was hitting the brakes and stuff, which is no bueno. I have an MDP clutch pedal stopper. I have a Hush Performance cable to hydro V3 kit up in there. And yeah, I think I already mentioned this NRG quick release on the Momo. And then for the time being, I have a stock Type S, so you know, RSX Type S or base model shifter box with a hybrid racing shift knob. I routed my cables really weirdly. As you can see, they kind of go right, they travel from there and they go down into the exhaust tunnel and then back up. And the issue that I'm having is kind of a little trouble finding 5th and 6th. So I think that has to do with how I routed my cables and how they are binding. So I will address that at some point. I have the Acuity shifter box mount, or shifter plate, I guess. And I did have an Acuity shifter in here, but like I previously mentioned with the routing of the cables, it was just so hard to get in gear. So I think once I fix the cable scenario, I'm going to be putting the Acuity box back in this. I do like the OEM feel a lot. I gotta say, big believer in OEM, but the Acuity one looks nice, feels nice, but I just need it to work properly. So once I address the cable routing issues, then we will put that box back in. All right, let me get in the car. So we have a Honda OEM radio block off for EFs. I love that thing. I have a JDI Ghost Box, which is a 4-channel Bluetooth module where I can connect my phone to play music through all 4 speakers, but I don't have any display or anything like that, and I think it looks really cool. I have an eBay AC delete button, so there's no AC in this car for obvious reasons, and I just like the look of the block off right here. I added a clock that did not originally come with this car. It's a DX, so they came with the little block off. Again, these are Etsy floor mats. I think they're awesome. I did have some JDM EF2 layered cake floor mats in the car, but unfortunately they are for right-hand drive cars, so I had 2 passenger side mats, and they were really cool, but like functionally they didn't really work well. They were slide and stuff, and they didn't like match the, you know, floorboards very well, so I decided to ditch those, get rid of them, get some money back out of them, and then I put these back in. Any other modifications? This is not a modification, but I found this in a part out car one time. It's like some 80s gas station sun visor shit. I think it's really cool. What else? I think that pretty much sums it up for the inside. As you can see, I had to cut my shifter bezel or lower console, whatever you want to call it, to fit the K-Series shifter box. So that kind of sucked, but I didn't cut the original one. I still have the original one. This one was a backup that I had, so I just decided to cut this one up. But I might do a version 2 where it kind of comes up a little more and hides this right here, but I don't know. It's working as of right now, and it gives it a little bit better of a look with these automatic seatbelt things. So yeah, there we go.
I ended up having to come back to my house. There was just way too much road noise, people coming up asking me if everything was okay because I had my hood popped. Trying to record a couple videos. I ended up moving spots. That spot became crowded, which wasn't even like a lookout spot, so I don't even know why people were showing up, but it probably was a dumb idea of me to assume that I could get a video off at one of the most popular times on the Blue Ridge Parkway. So that's on me. As you can tell, the leaves are changing color. Photographers are out here in full effect. So, I mean, part of the reason I went and decided to do the video there was because it looked so damn good outside. So, but anyways, we'll get into the motor, transmission, suspension, all that right now, and we will close this video out. So let's get under the hood.
So here she is. This is a fully built K24 with an RSX Type S 6-speed transmission. I'm going to get in a little bit about the internals, transmission stuff, clutch stuff, intake, exhaust, all that. I've made this video, like as I'm making it to you, about
I don't know, 8 or 9 times already, so I'm pretty tired of saying it, but I keep getting interrupted or something happens, so I'm just going to kind of briefly go through it, all right? Bottom end. So the block is a K24 A1 out of a CRV. No reason that I chose that one. It was just what I had available to me. It's a polished and balanced crankshaft, K24 A1 crank. This block does not have oil squirters, but if it did, we would have probably blocked them off. It has K1 lightweight I-beam rods in it. They are forged. We ended up going with a cast piston, a Chinese piston nonetheless, from Nippon Racing. It is their RRC in an 87.5 millimeter bore. So this motor has been bored 5 over, or 0.5 over. The compression with the K20 Z3 head is around 12 to 5 to 1. If I had left the K24 head, it would have been 13 to 5 to 1, and at that point I would have needed to run E85. I wanted to keep this car pump gas 93 because that is what I have available to me in my area. The reason that we chose the K20 Z3 head, number one, due to the compression changes with the pistons I was using, but not only that, I had formerly had a bone stock K24 in the car, but I had this intake manifold, and I didn't want to change it over if I used the Type S, which doesn't have this coolant passage right here that's built into the intake manifold. So if I went with the Type S, I would have had to cut that off, re-powder coat it, change my coolant passages and hoses and all that kind of stuff. So I just said, fuck it, let's get a Z3 head. I believe they have the same CFM or like port flow from a Type S to a Z3. It just has to do with the coolant passages on the side. So we went with that head. The head is fully built. It is not ported. It has drag cartel 3.2 cams, 50-degree VTC, even though we probably should have went with a modified 35-degree VTC. I'll get into that in a little bit. It has a EP3 or Accord style exhaust cam gear. It has Ferrera 6,000 valves, SuperTech 95-pound springs, SuperTech retainers and keepers. The oil pan is a stock oil pan. It has a 4-piston ported oil pump. It has an ATI dampener. The clutch is originally we had a Clutchmaster 725 single disc in here. It was a little too much clutch for, what I wanted to do, cars and coffee, all that kind of stuff. So we ended up going with the Clutchmaster's FX 300, which is a stage 3 clutch. Perfect for this amount of power that we're putting down, and it feels great. Light and flywheel, it is a steel flywheel. We changed that out. And then I already went over the transmission. Shift cables are K-Tune Street. I have a Chase Bays tucked rad. This thing runs super cold, like almost too cold. So that might change in the future. But, I mean, that's a good problem to have, I guess. All vibrant, fittings. T-bolt clamps. We have the K-tuned EP3 style tensioner, which is kind of an unpopular choice for somebody running a K24 in an EF, but because of my hood, I was able to make it work. Also, I want to say, not that this is anything special, but I am the only EF Sedan K24 on the high setting with no hood cut, nothing on my hood. So that is something that I desperately wanted to do, and we made it happen. All thanks really to this hood and this intake manifold, which gave me the right amount of clearance that I needed. If you had an RBC on here, it would be sticking up kind of like that. So the angle, the pitch is different. Let's go back to the motor. So FIC 1000cc injectors, which are only at like 30% duty cycle. So those could have been a lot smaller. Hybrid racing fuel rail, air motive fuel pressure regulator gauge, and air motive filter. We have a K-Tune swivel neck, thermostat housing. I have custom stainless steel radiator hoses, upper and lower. I have a K-tuned slave cylinder. I have, like I said, previously mentioned the Hush Performance cable to hydro conversion, the V3. I bought it used. Some funky stuff going on with it. I got to figure some stuff out. I think it's all due to adjustment, but I will get to that eventually. Right now the car's working, so I just kind of left it as is. A couple lines on here are done by Finishing Lines, which is a great company to get brake lines, clutch lines, any line related stuff from. Definitely check them out. That's Finishing Lines, and ask to speak to Josh. What else? So the mounts are Hasport EFK2 mounts. They are on the high setting, as you can see here. 1, 2. And this is an inversion mount, so it's like a flippy kind of ordeal, and this is on the higher setting as well. In the back, I have an FCS tubular subframe. I'm not sure if you could see that. That was a pretty expensive part. Not 100% sold on it. I'm getting some funky feeling from the car. Not sure if it's that is where it's coming from, or my alignment, or my suspension, or something, but I don't know. It bolts on and it works great. It might be too much for my application. I don't know. But what I can tell you is it's not fucking bending. So that's what happens with the stock subframes in K-Series, and especially in my power range, which isn't anything crazy, but and if I hadn't said it before, this car made 281 horsepower to the wheels on a DynoJet dyno up in Maryland. The motor was built by Mike Sweeney at 1-to-1 Tuning. The car was tuned by Mike Sweeney at 1-to-1 Tuning. All the fab work was done by Bad Cat Engineering in, I forget the place, but they're in Maryland. All kind of like the greater Baltimore area for Mike and Bad Cat. It's got a Skunk 2 Alpha header, K-swap header, to a Stainless Bros resonator and a Stainless Bros muffler with a turn down. It's all Stainless Bros tubing as well. All of that was done by Justin at Bad Cat Engineering. I mean, I wish I could show you under the car more. This thing is a thing of beauty. I mean, for real. This is like one of the nicest exhausts I've ever seen. And it happens to be mine. It was a pretty penny, but well worth the money. It sounds great, looks great, performs great. It's everything I ever wanted. I also have a QTP electric cutout. So when I want to, open header sound, I just flip this switch right here, and I am able to have full dump open header when I want to get rowdy. It's just a really fun thing to have. Some say it might be ricey. I really don't care. It's probably the funnest thing I've ever done to the car. All right, what else? So I think that covers just about all the motor stuff. If I didn't say it before, this is a Skunk 2 Pro Street RBC style intake manifold. I'm not even sure that's real. It might be fake. I have no fucking idea, but it works great. I have a 74 millimeter Skunk 2 throttle body, the black edition or whatever. AEM filter with a cover on it. Yeah, all right, so let's get into suspension and brakes. For calipers in the front, as of right now, I just have the stock calipers with Nissan pads. I will be upgrading to a Porsche 986 Boxster big brake kit. All possible from the Hone development brackets that they developed for those calipers. Very much looking forward to putting those on. I just need to do a couple things, delete the booster, and a few other things to make that possible. So I have everything I need. I just kind of need to do it. The season is kind of closing for fun car stuff, so that'll have the car in the garage and I'll be able to work on it. So that's going to be an over the winter project. So rear calipers, this is a rear disc conversion from a CRX SI. All the powder coating that you see, so that's probably not the best example, but the intake manifold, my valve cover, my timing cover, all powder coated by Logan at Caliper Kingpin. He's local here in North Carolina. If anybody needs any powder coating done, Cerakoting, please hit me up and I can get you in contact with him. He does amazing work, great prices, quality stuff. All right, like I said, FCS tubular subframe, hard race, lower control arms with rubber bushings, no spherical anything on this car, minus the ASR rear sway bar. Skunk 2 upper control arms, part store ball joints, part store tie rods. Well, actually, these are OEM Honda tie rods. I spent a little penny on those, but they were actually for a different project, but I robbed them. In the rear, we have an ASR subframe brace, and we have a 24 millimeter sway bar. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing this. Excuse my brake cables. I had to route them weird due to something, but I'll get that fixed.
The coilovers are K-tuned K1 Street. I think that they're great. They have, I think, 12-way adjustable dampener. But like I said earlier in the video, I'm having some issues with like handling and stuff, so I can't really give my full stamp of approval at this time, but generally speaking, I think they're great. I just don't know what my problem is. It's on monster truck fucking fitment right now. Please excuse that, like I said before. I gotta lower the car, camber it in a little bit, and get that all going. On the rear trailing arms, they are powder coated as well in silver vein. You guys can see that. Really good looking. We ended up welding in the home development gussets. So there's no way for me to show you guys this, but there is a extra thin sheet of metal welded on the inside of the trailing arms, supposedly to give you a little bit more rigidity when turning. I think that it was a great idea. I bought them, we welded them in, and they've been working out, I guess. We have the home development geometry correction kit in the rear. That gold bracket you see right there, that essentially adjusts the lower control arms when you lower a vehicle and change the geometry. I will say, not 100% believer in them. Also, they will lower your suspension, so you can't really get the ride height like too high. And yeah, I don't know, they might come off eventually, but we will see. So yeah, again, this exhaust is like fucking awesome. Let's see, there's the Stainless Bros resonator right there. There's my QTP 3-inch cutout, electric cutout. All zinc coated hardware throughout the car. Have that done locally. And yeah, I mean, that just about wraps it up. I might do a more extensive, read through of all this eventually. I've just been wanting to make a video, so I said, fuck it. It's not the most, cut and dry, what the hell am I trying to say? It's not the most in-depth, explanation I've ever seen, but maybe we'll get into an even crazier one at some point. But I think that gives you a pretty good idea of what's on the car. I love the car so far. It definitely needs some tweaking in some areas, suspension wise. The clutch pedal or the clutch pedal feel needs to be adjusted. The shifter cables need to be adjusted. I need to add some more stuff to my digital display. But generally speaking, it's been awesome. I've loved owning it when it was in stock form and when it was, fully built. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you guys watching. That's going to be the conclusion to this video, man. I'm having such a hard time saying things. I think I'm fucking tired at this point, but thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys